I begin in the name of gracious God, the merciful, the beneficent. Hi dear students, how are you? This video is about MA English Literature. In this video, I am going to tell you something about MA English Literature, either if you are going to appear from Sargodha University or from Punjab University. Remember that both the universities are still conducting the exams and taking admissions of MA English. So don't be doubtful that whether they are going to conduct exam or not. Still both universities are conducting the exams of MA English Literature. And by this video especially for those students who are going to appear as private students. The reason? Because private students are those who are not having so much time. With less time, they want to attain these degrees. But even then, they don't know the syllabus, they don't know the proper guideline regarding that which option will be better. Students come to me and they say the Punjab University is having more value. Remember here, don't indulge yourself in such controversies, because important thing is that you should complete your degree. That is the most important thing, instead of thinking that which university is having more value, because when you are going to apply for job, the important thing, you must have your degree, the complete master's degree. One thing, second thing is that the both universities, whether Sargodha or Punjab, in both universities, if you pass, your marks will be from 45% to 60%. Not more than this. So, no difference as far as marks are concerned. But I prefer that if you have less time, if you have shortage of time, obviously when you are a private student, you are busy in many other things. You have to do many other things. You are having some jobs, you are performing some jobs, your domestic obligations also increase a lot. So it is difficult to do such a thing where the syllabus is very lengthy. Look here, in part 1, there are 5 papers in both universities. In part 2, again there are 5 papers in both universities. But there are 30 books. Overall, there are 30 books in part 1, almost 25 books in part 2. So clear yourself that this is your syllabus. There are 30 books. If you do selective studies, even then you must have to prepare at least 20 books in part 1. Means normally one question comes from one book. It means you have to solve 4 or 5 questions. So you must have to at least you must have to prepare 4 books from every paper. So 4 means 5 books at least in part 1, and same thing is also there in part 2. But why I would like to say Sargodha's syllabus is less? Because out of 30 books of part 1, 30 books of part 1, there are 17 or 18 books which are same in both universities. 17 or 18 books are same, but difference is that in Sargodha University, there is no question of reference to context in paper 1 and paper 2. So that's why if you don't study text thoroughly, even then you can prepare. But in Punjab University, you must have to study complete text of paper 1 and paper 2. So these 2 papers make your syllabus very lengthy. as compared to the syllabus of Sargodha University, one thing. And second thing, out of these 18 books which are same in part 1, like if there is a poet like John Donne in paper 1, so in Sargodha University there are hardly 11 poems of that person, of that poet. But in Punjab University there are more than 25 poems. So syllabus increase a lot. The same books, but syllabus is very much short in Sargodha and very much expanded one in Punjab University. Now see here, the first part 1, paper 1, classical poetry in both universities. Paper 2, drama, part 1 in both universities. Every paper is of 100 marks. It means 500 marks. The same in part 2. Each paper is of 100 marks, means 500. But what is the difference in part 1? All these 5 papers are compulsory. But in part 2, 4 are compulsory and the 5th one is optional. In 5th paper, that is optional, okay? So the first classical poetry, second drama, third novel, 4th prose, and 5th is American literature in both universities. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you those books which are same. Otherwise, it will be very difficult if I describe all the books. So, right now, I am going to tell you those books which are same in both universities, so that first try to prepare these books. And while preparing these books, you will know what is better for you, which choice will be better for you. Right? So look here, in the classical poetry, our first person is Chaucer, and his book name is Canterbury to Prologue in both universities. Right? But remember, in Sargodha, if you just study a little bit as far text is concerned, even then okay. But in Punjab, you must have to study complete text. The second Paralost, it's of John Milton. Paralost of John Milton. There are 2 books, book 1 and book 9. Book 1 and book 9. Okay? And here, when you will study Paradise Lost, you will see that the syllabus as a text of these 2 books is concerned. In Punjab University, complete text. But in Sargodha University, there will be some short, or there are some, you will find something which will make it short, because you are not going to study complete text. Then there is a metaphysical poetry of John Donne. Metaphysical poetry of John Donne. Right? Just I told you that almost 25 poems in Punjab University, and in Sargodha only 11. Then the Rape of Lock of Alexander Pope. Rape of Lock, this is written by Alexander Pope, okay? And you have to study here. There are cantos, okay? 5 cantos. And in Punjab, you have to study all 5 cantos. But in Sargodha, you have to study 3 cantos. So you're looking, again, syllabus has been minimized there in Sargodha University. The second paper is drama. In drama, the first Oedipus Rex in both universities. Second one is Oedipus Rex written by Sophocles. The second one is Othello in both universities. It is a play of Shakespeare. Then the third, Importance of Being Earnest. Importance of Being Earnest of Oscar Wilde. It's also in both universities. Right, so these 3 will be in both universities. But as I told you, at least try to prepare 4 books. So then, Christopher Marlowe's book, Dr. Faustus, is in Punjab University, and G of Malta is in Sargodha University. Right? So then there is a choice in Punjab, Dr. Faustus of Christopher Marlowe, and in Sargodha, G of Malta, the writer is same, Christopher Marlowe. Then paper 3 is here. Here the first Pride and Prejudice in Bose University, written by Jane Austen. Second is Tale of Two Cities, again in Bose Universities, written by Charles Dickens. So here two books are same in both universities. Then there is George Eliot in Sargodha University. The novel of George Eliot is Mill on the Floss. But on the other hand, in Punjab University, there is Adam Bate. Right? So then three. And then the fourth book will be of Hardy, Thomas Hardy, right? A great novelist. So in Punjab University, Thomas Hardy book is Return of the Native. And in Sargodha University, the book name is Tess. Clear? So Tess is a novel of Hardy, right? So at least four books. So you're looking at here, two books are same, two books you have to discuss of different authors or author may be same, the books are different. Then there's a paper 4, prose. Paper 4, prose. The first Francis Bacon essays in both universities, right? Francis Bacon essays. Again in Punjab, you have to study all essays in that book. But in Sargodha, there are some selective essays. Then Gulliver Travel, this is a book of Jonathan Swift. There are 4 travels of Gulliver. Right? In Punjab, you have to prepare all the 4, but in Sargodha, 2, 1 and 4 are given importance in Sargodha. Then unpopular essay of Bertrand Russell, a great philosopher of 20th century. So again, all the essays in Punjab University, but on the other hand in Sargodha University, there are some selective essays, hardly 8 or 9 essays. Then there is a culture and imperialism of Edward Said in both universities. This is so these 4 books are there, which are in both universities. Then paper 5th, that is American literature. American literature. Here, Wilbur is a person. Wilbur, right? So Wilbur's there are 4 poems in Punjab and 2 in Sargodha. Then there is John Ashbery. The 2 poems there are of John Ashbery in both universities. Then there is a drama of Miller, Crucible, in both universities. And there is a novel of Toni Morrison. Yes, it's a novel of Toni Morrison in both universities. So if you prepare these 4 present in both universities, enough. Even then, there are some poets like Sylvia Plath and Andrew Rich in Punjab University. Sylvia Plath and Andrew Rich. On the other hand, in Sargodha University, there is Frost, Robert Frost and Whitman. Right? So these 2 are there in Punjab University. So when in Sargodha University. So when you study Sylvia Plath and Andrew Rich, and then Frost and Whitman, you will see that the poetry of Sylvia Plath and Andrew Rich is difficult, complicated as compared to Whitman's poetry and Frost's poetry, right? So this is your part 1, right? After completing your part 1, you will feel quite clear that how much time you need and how much preparation you require to do your masters in English. Because in the beginning, everyone is suggesting or telling you do this thing or do that thing, but you're not clear, right? After going through all this syllabus, then the things will be settled in your mind and you know that, okay, what is proper for you and what is not proper for you. Easy for you then to decide, right? What is good for you. So at least these books, these are selective books which I have told you, all these are selective books, right? Then in part 2, the first paper is romantic poetry in both universities. Romantic poetry in both universities. Here the first one is William Blake, right? There are some selective poems of William Blake. Then Wordsworth. Again, when you will study, you will see that the syllabus of Wordsworth is shorter in Sargodha. Then John Keats in both universities, Philip Larkin again in both universities. At least prepare these four. Alright? So then in Sargodha University try to prepare one more, that will be Yeats. Right? Then the next one is drama. In drama, first is Hedda Gabler of Ibsen in both universities. Hedda Gabler of Ibsen in both universities. Then Cherry Orchard of Chekhov in both universities. C of Edward Bond in both universities. And then Waiting for Godot, the marvelous play. Alright? So Waiting for Godot of Samuel Beckett in both universities. So very difficult text of all these things you have to study in Punjab. But in Sargodha, no need to study text thoroughly. But even then, I suggest that at least Waiting for Godot text you must have to study. Then the third paper is of novel. The first novel is Heart of Darkness of Conrad in both universities. Second, Things Fall Apart of Ichibu, that is also in both university. And then the Lighthouse of Lighthouse of Virginia Woolf in both universities. So three, at least one more you have to study here in Punjab and also in Sargodha University. Okay, so then at least 4 books you must have to study. Okay, then the next one is criticism, Poetics of Aristotle, the Critic of T.S. Eliot, both universities, and Critical Practice of Catherine Balsey in both universities. So these three are same. Again, you have to add to one book, right, which will be different in Punjab and also in Sargodha University. And then the next, the last paper is optional paper. There are 4. One is short stories, second linguistic, third essays, and fourth literature around the world. Out of these 4 papers, you have to choose one. So when you will reach here, you will come to know that which is the better choice for you. Short story and linguistic, normally most of students have these 2 out of these 2. But even then, essay, there are 7 or 8 essays, and out of those 7 essays, so you have to write essay only on one topic, and that will be of 100 marks. Means at least 30 to 35 pages you have to write on one topic. So that sometimes becomes difficult, but sometimes if the topic is easier, or if you know, then that will be the easiest paper. Anyhow, so these are the overall choices, and out of these 4 you have to choose one. Clear? So this is your overall syllabus, or a short or a brief way, in a very brief way, I'm telling you about the books and the papers. So dear students, look here. Masters in English is really having a lot of value. Don't think so that it's something like minor degree, not at all. Right? So when it is something important, something valuable, then obviously it demands some time. So try to prepare for Masters in English with complete devotion. Then you can do this. Instead of indulging in any type of controversy or thinking that you can do this without studying a lot or just by sending admission. Not. You must be serious then, and it's a marvelous degree, right? Because it is going to really expand your thoughts and opening new horizons, or it will make your vision very much different. Okay? Thanks, friends.